Okay, so let me first of all log in into the org. I'm going with login.salesforce.com and I'm entering my username as the passwords. Rajat, could you please off your video? All right, so I'm entering my username and password. This is the way you have to log in when you are having a Salesforce developer account. You have to go to login.salesforce.com. There you would require to enter the username and the passwords. All right, let's now start with learning a small customizations. First of all, the first thing I would like to get introduced is the tab. What is a tab? Right. See, when you go to any application, either you are in a sales or maybe you go to service. All right. These are what? These are applications. By the way, this drop down menu would just have opened. This is something called as app launcher, application launcher. In short, it is called as app launcher. So what it contains, it contains a link to the different applications, to the different clouds. So when we go to any cloud, when we go to any application, right now, for example, you are on sales. You can see when you select an application, there is a significant changes in the tab bar. There is a significant changes that is happening over here on tab bar. And this is something called as tab bar, right? Now, tab bar typically contains what? It contains all of the tabs. It contains all of the tabs. So what is the role of a tab? Right? What is the role of a tab? Let's first of all try to understand this. Let's try to understand this. What is the role of a tab? All right. See, whenever you wanted to access what we call as an object, like campaigns, that actually is an object. Lead, that is also an object of Salesforce. Account, contact, opportunities. These all are what? Solution, product, reports, dashboards. Everything, whatever you see, these are what? These are the objects. Now, what exactly is an object is going to be a part of discussion. Probably after a few topics, we are going to discuss that as well. What is an object and the relationship of object and tabs, that we will be discussing. All right. But right now you have to catch this term. You have to catch this term. These are what? These are objects. There are so many objects in Salesforce, right? And whenever I wanted to access an object, for example, I wanted to access accounts, I wanted to access contacts, or maybe opportunities. If you wanted to access an object, where? Onto user interface. Onto user interface. Now, what is a user interface? Let me clear out that terminology as well. See, this window, whatever you see over here is called as user interface. Whatever you see over here is called as the user interface and user interface. All right. A simple terminology to understand, not a big thing. So whenever, see, if I wanted to access an object, for example, I wanted to access account, or maybe contact, maybe opportunity of any other object. But where I wanted to access these, I wanted to access them on user interface. This particular place, what we are seeing right now, I have to go with something called as tabs. So let me make a click onto accounts. And when I make a click onto accounts, I am now where? I'm now onto the home page or home tab of account. This is the place where I could access the accounts. I can do what? I can create a new account. If I press this new button, another interface would get opened, this one. And by entering details over here, Let me try to show you. For example, I'm creating my test account number 1. And I'm entering few more details. Like let me enter this account site would be like India. And the type is a pick list. In a Microsoft interface, we used to call this as a drop down menu. But when you are, when you are dealing in Salesforce, you have to say this as a pick list menu, not a drop down. Try to adopt terminologies as early as possible. This is what it's a drop down menu, but in terms of Microsoft, saying this drop down is all right. But in terms of Salesforce, you should say it's a pick list menu, right? So type is prospect. Let me select industry as banking. Annual revenue is probably 10 lakh. Rating, I'm giving hot. Phone number, this value. Fax number, that value. Test2.com. Ownership is public. Active status is yes. Customer priority is high. SLA agreement is gold. And let me now save this record. All right. So what I just did is like I have created one of the account record. One of the account record. Now, if I wanted to edit something, I have a button. Like I could press this edit button. I could press this edit button and I could make the editing, and later on I can save them. If I wanted to delete this record, I'm having a delete button as well, right? And there are a few more control buttons. What does it mean by sharing and all that? We're going to learn it a bit later, but we're going to definitely learn that. So that was one thing. If I go to, once again, if I go to the tabs home, there are a few options over here. You can see there are a few options. See, if I click onto all accounts, it would going to list it out all of the account records that are present inside the object account. All right. We have created one of them right now, my test account. These all are the accounts. These all are the account records. These are what we haven't created anything. All right. But this is something called as a sample data, a test data. See, and this test data is present in almost in every object. You go to contact, and if you go with this option, all contacts, you can see that contact is having 20 records, 1 out of 20 or 20. 20 records are already there. These are what? These are some of the test data. These are some of the sample data. And it is present almost in every object. You go with all opportunity, there are 31 records over there. There are 31 records already there inside the opportunity. And we have not created any one of them. But this is what? See, this is a developer edition. Developer edition is being created. Why? For the training. And Salesforce, that's why the developer edition has provided some of the sample data. Right? This is for your understanding. You should see this data and you should understand. And this is the reason. Let me show you something. This is the reason. Yesterday, we were discussing one thing. I take up you to the company profile and then to the company information. And over here, I have shown you one thing, right? I was telling you the maximum data limit, the kind of storage that is given to us in developer edition is 5 MB. Now, out of this 5 MB, 300 KB is already consumed. And I was discussing this, how come this is possible that we just have created this account? We haven't created any data. We haven't stored. Right now, by today morning, I have stored one account record. But previous to that, this is what the capacity, right? So how come this data, how come 300 KB has been already consumed? So this is all consumed because although you have not created, but that doesn't mean the objects are blank. They are having some amount of data, some small data, some test data, but they are having some data inside this, right? And that is the reason. Now, if you could probably catch this, right, why the data storage seems to be already having 300 KB and your file is already having 13 KB inside that. So this is the reason. Inside every object, there is a data. Almost in every object. All right. So, see, whenever we wanted to access any object, all right, when I'm saying access, the word access itself describes everything. That means either you are just looking into the records like this, or maybe you are performing like an insert operation. That means if you are inserting a new record, you are creating a new record, or maybe you are performing and editing. You are trying to edit an existing record, or maybe you are trying to delete something, right? This every activity, whatever you are trying to do, this every activity, we call this as DML, data manipulation. So every such data manipulation activity, whatever we are trying to do onto user interface, you can do it with a tab. If there is a tab, if there is a tab, you could access the object. If there is no tab, you cannot access. You cannot access. For that, what you would require to do, you have to first of all bring the tab. You have to bring the tab onto the tab bar. How to do that would be a part. The second topic, a topic continuous to this would be the how to customize the tab bar. Okay, but now, what is the significance of tab? The tabs are, the tabs are used to access the object onto the user interface. Particularly, there are some other ways you could access the object where tab is not required. I will be showing you that later on. Right now, see, the definition which I'm telling is very precise and a very specific definition. What is definition? What I'm telling you? Whenever we wanted to access any object onto user interface, particularly where onto the user interface, then we have to go through the tab. You must have a tab. If I wanted to access forecast, if I want to access contracts, orders, cases, opportunities, whatever, right? I have to go with something called as a tab, right? That is what a significance of a tab. Rest, what is other thing that is being written, you have to go it. See, my way of teaching is like, I usually don't read the theory line by line. I have written this notes is actually for you guys. Whenever I explain something, I explain something in my own way. But then you have to go with this all theory. I'm not going to read it out line by line and then explain, this is not the way. I'm not having that much of time. And moreover, this is not my way of teaching. Right. So whatever the theory material I am providing you, this notes I have updated yesterday itself on the drive, you can go and get it. So you have to, you have to go with this. You have to go with this all, whatever has been written. All right. Now, one important thing to know about this, one important thing. See, tab represents object. All right, tab represents what? Object. But there's a small thing that every one of us should know about this. Right? For every object, you can have a tab. Except few of the objects that we'll talk later about. There is always one tab for one object. All right, this is one-to-one relationship between object and tabs. One object have one tab represents one object. One object would always have one tab, and a tab represents one object. This means no two objects would be there which is having same tab. It's not possible. Also, you cannot access two objects by a single tab. Again, this is not possible. So there is always like one-to-one relationship. There's always a one-to-one relationship. There's always a one-to-one relationship between objects and tab. But then there is a significant there's something what every one of us should know. Say in Salesforce, the object name, they are always singular. They're always singular. But their respective tab name, they are always in a form of a plural form. In a plural form. The object name, they are singular. Their respective tab name, they are always plural. What does it mean? It means if your object name is lead, the tab name is what? Leads. The account, if the object name is account, the tab name is what? Accounts. If the object name is opportunity, the tab name is what? Opportunities. If the object name is case, the tab name is cases. Solutions, orders, codes, books, candidates, positions, loans. So this is something you should be aware of. The tab names are always plural in the form. Tab names are always plural in the form. Their respective object name, they are singular. Their names are singular. And why it is like this? I'll tell you that as well. So you can see campaigns, leads, accounts, contacts, opportunities, forecast, contracts, right? So the tab name, this is one of the rule in Salesforce. Although you can skip that, right? But that's a general convention. That's a general convention in Salesforce that the object name, they are always singular, but their respective tab name. For example, if lead is the object, what is the tab name for that? For the lead, the tab name is leads. For account, it accounts. For contact, it's contacts, opportunities like this. So basically, this is a convention what we follow. Even if I create a custom tab, I'm going to name it in a plural form always. That is what a usual kind of, a convention, a usual rule we follow. Although this is not compulsory, I'm telling you once again, if you wanted a tab name by any reason, if you wanted the tab name to be in a singular form, Salesforce allow you to do that. But usually what we have seen so far, tab names, they are always plural in the form. All right. And what is the reason for that? What is the reason? See, tab, when I click on accounts, it actually not represent just one account. All right. If I go with this button, you can see altogether there are 14 record of account. If something is in the multiple capacity, a general rule of English is to say in the plural form. Person and people, there is a difference. Person represents somebody, people represent a group of persons, right? In the same way, if there's only one account, one record of account, I'll say to this, it's a one account record. If there are multiple accounts record, I'll be saying it's accounts, right? You have one chocolate. You have 10 chocolate. What are you going to say? I'm having 10 chocolates with me. I'm having two mobiles phone with me, right? Two phones with me. I'm having two water bottles with me. So we always add that S. We always append that S when we are dealing with the multiple capacities. If you are having more than one forms of that, so that's a general concept. If you go to the opportunity, how many opportunity records you usually have? Right now you're having 31 records. So over here, 31 records. Where is my cursor is pointing? 31 records. So when I'm referring to multiple records of opportunity, I'll obviously not going to say 31 opportunity record. Rather, I'll be say 31 opportunities are there. There are multiple opportunities. That's the reason. That is the reason, because it actually represents multiple records of the same time. Accounts record, contacts record, opportunities record. That is the reason tab name, they are usually always in the form of plural. Their names are always in plural form. Okay. Now let's come to the next thing, and that's the customization of the tab bar. See, and this seems to be a small thing. This seems to be a small thing. I'll tell you one story behind this. And that actually is not a story I'm telling. A small thing could sometimes make a big hurdle. We are having a proverb in English that if you ignore a spark, a small spark, ignoring a small spark cause a big fire. बोलते ना एक छोटी सी चिंगारी को भी अगर आपने वो किया तो बहुत बड़ी आग लगा सकती है. I'll tell you one real-time incident. It's not a story. It's an incident. Okay, if you are not aware of the small, the big things, you don't know small things. That could also badly impact your professional career. I'll tell you why. All right. Okay. So let's understand how we can customize the tab bar. First of all, what is a tab bar? Tab bar, I have told you, the place where every tab has been present or has been put up. This particular, from this end to this end, what you see, where every tab has been properly arranged, right? This particular area of user interface is something called as tab bar. This particular area where every tab is present, it is called as a tab bar. This is called as what a tab. And this word customization, see, this word customization will be coming so many times. What does it mean by the customizing? So whenever if I'm saying to you that let's customize this, let's customize this. So what does it mean? Customization means, changing the things according to your necessity, according to your need, according to the requirement. If you are changing the things, if you are editing, if you are making certain changes into that, this is something called as customization. This is something called as customization. Some of you might think that these are kind of simple things. Why I am explaining you. Try to understand. Try to understand. See, whenever I teach you something, I consider that there might be someone in my class who is actually a non-technical person, and he's not from the computer's background. He's not being done any course of computers, but still he's having a dream to come into the IT, right? And that is the reason he's coming with us. He's coming to us. He has joined this course of Salesforce. And Salesforce promises that anyone could come into this technology. There is no organization, I'm telling you, who will look to your degree. What is your degree? They will just, whenever they evaluate you in the interviews, they will just going to check how much knowledge of Salesforce you are having in terms of configuration, in terms of customizations, in terms of integrations, in terms of lightning, in terms of writing components and all that. But what they would ask you, they would ask you things only related to what Salesforce. This is the biggest reason. This is one of the greatest opportunity that this technology has given. No one else have given this. And Salesforce is designed in such a way that even somebody doesn't have coding knowledge, he could do a lot many things in Salesforce. This is the beauty of this product. This is the beauty of this technology, right? And it's this is the reason, if you are even a non-technical person, you're not an engineer, or maybe if you are an engineer, you are not a computer engineer. You doesn't belongs to the computer branch, or maybe you have you are entirely with a different stream, but still you can hope, and you can, you could dream that you could come into this IT profession. How come? With this technology. So see, when I am actually teaching you this, it actually becomes my responsibility. It becomes my responsibility. क्या बोलते हैं उसको? I'm not getting the proper word, but I have to explain this in such a way, that it should be, it should be easily understood by everyone. अब देखो, एक चीज मैं और बताता हूँ आप लोग को, डिस्कशंस में ना बहुत सारी ऐसी बातें निकलेंगी, जैसे मैं बार बार यही कहता हूँ, शायद ये बात मैंने कल भी कही थी आप लोगों से, कि 90 से 95% जो है वो सारा आपका ट्रेनिंग, ये नोट्स, ये वीडियोस और जो कुछ भी मैं बताता हूँ उससे कवर होता है। बट 5% जो है स्कोप है ऑब्जर्वेशन का। और फिर मैं इसलिए कहता हूँ कि भाई सवेरे की क्लास रहती है, समझता है मुझको कि बीइंग अ ह्यूमन बीइंग, अगर आप कल रात में किसी वजह से थक गए एंड यू आर नॉट फीलिंग वेल, जस्ट गो एंड हैव अ स्लीप, सो जाओ, कोई दिक्कत नहीं, अपनी तबियत मत खराब करो। मुझ पे कंपल्शन है आपकी क्लास लेना, अदरवाइज द डे वुड बी गेटिंग वेस्टेड। हम हफ्ते में सिर्फ 5 दिन पढ़ाते हैं, सैटरडे संडे वैसे ही हम लोग छुट्टी दे रहे हैं ताकि आप लोग अपना रिवीजन और अपनी स्टडी कर पाओ। एंड वी आल्सो वांटेड टू एंजॉय वीकेंड्स, लाइक वी आर आल्सो हैविंग फैमिलीज एंड ऑल दैट। बट आप पे कंपल्शन नहीं है। अगर आप किसी भी वजह से, अगर आपको अच्छा नहीं लग रहा है, तो प्लीज कंप्लीट योर स्लीप, बिकॉज वीडियोस हैं आपके पास और आप जब चाहें, जैसे चाहें वैसे रिवाइज कर सकते हैं। लेकिन अगर क्लास में बैठे हो तो पूरे अटेंटिव रहो, पूरे अटेंटिव रहो, अपना 100%। देखो, कोई ऑब्जर्व नहीं कर रहा है, nobody, nobody is observing you. Nobody would ask you कि भाई तू लेटा क्यों है। It is just you. आप ही हो, आप ही अपने आप को ऑब्जर्व करें और आप ही डिसाइड करेंगे कि मैं जो इस तरह से क्लास कर रहा हूँ क्या ये सही है, क्या ये गलत, राइट? तो बी अटेंटिव इन क्लास, तभी तो मजा आएगा आपको। तो बहुत सारी टर्मिनोलॉजीज है जो आपको कैच करनी है, बहुत सारी चीजें ट्रेनिंग्स के अलावा, सेल्स फोर्स के अलावा कल्चर समझना है, टर्मिनोलॉजी समझनी है, और काफी सारा डिस्कशन चलेगा क्लास में आगे, यहाँ से लेके आगे 8-9 महीने जब तक आप लोग हमारे साथ हैं, मेरे साथ हैं, आने वाले दूसरे टीचर्स के साथ में है, दूसरे लोगों के साथ में, हर कोई आप में इंप्रूवमेंट करेगा, हर कोई आपको अपलिफ्ट करेगा। बट कैसा होता है, देखो अगर एक एक व्यक्ति हाथ बढ़ा रहा है तो फिर आपको भी तो उसका हाथ थामना पड़ता है ना। आपको पता ही नहीं इसने हाथ बढ़ा के रखा है, हम सो रहे हैं, तो फिर कैसे पता चलेगा? तो सिंसियरिटी लाओ अपने अंदर, जज्बा पैदा करो। अगर मैं कह रहा हूँ ना आप थक गए हो सो जाओ यार, कोई दिक्कत नहीं है, कोई दिक्कत नहीं। लेकिन अगर बैठो तो 100% लेके बैठो, बिल्कुल फोकस्ड होके बैठो। चलिए, सो कस्टमाइजेशन मतलब क्या होता है? कस्टमाइजेशन का मतलब होता है एग्जिस्टिंग चीजों में बदलाव। इफ देयर इज अ फंक्शनैलिटी and we wanted to change it, why we wanted to change it? Because we wanted to have a representation according to our own way, right? This is something called as customization, and this word would going to hit you so many times. This word is going to hit you so many times. Customization is this functionality, customization is that functionality. So what this word customization means in a simple English, it means making the changes. जिसको कहते हैं हम की चीजों में बदलाव लाना, उनको अपने अपने मुताबिक ढाल देना, अपने मुताबिक उसमें चेंजेस लाना। दिस इज समथिंग कॉल्ड एज कस्टमाइजेशन। Word seems to be very small, same word you will be going to, when you are attending the meetings, you will be going to say this word. Okay, I'll do that customization, don't worry, it's on my shoulder, this is on my bucket, I'll do that customization. Understand, try to adopt that culture, try to become, वो अंदर वो बात लाओ अपने अंदर कि you are what, you are a Salesforce professional, you are a software engineer, though you haven't taken any degree from any college, but still you are having an ample knowledge of Salesforce, and this reflects when you talk. देखिए, एक एक ऐसा व्यक्ति जिसके पास अच्छा खासा नॉलेज होता है ना, उसकी बातों में वो झलकता है, उसकी बातों से वो झलकता है कि यार है उसके अंदर कुछ बात है। क्यों? उसकी बातों में वो अंदाज रहता है, उसकी बातों में। इसलिए देखो, आपकी बैच और आने हर बैचेस में एक मेरा कंपल्शन रहता है, इफ यू वांटेड टू आस्क मी समथिंग, अनम्यूट करिए, आप मुझसे चैट पे बात नहीं करेंगे। हाँ, इन इन इफ दिस लेक्चर इज गोइंग ऑन इन बिटवीन, अभी मैंने डिसेबल कर रखी है कमांड, बट यू फील दिस इज समथिंग अर्जेंट, आई नीड टू क्लियर दिस डाउट राइट नाउ, अदरवाइज हो सकता है मुझे आगे नहीं समझ में आएगा। And that time there is again provision, raise your hand. Once you raise your hand with this tool, Zoom, I came to know एक notification immediately आता है मेरे screen, and then I'll give you that command, you can unmute. या फिर you don't wanted to interrupt me, but this is something you wanted कि हाँ इसको clear out कर लेते हैं, तो that question you could post me, आप chat पे post करके रख। So this is the only allowed, there is only allowed, like what you can post me at chat. Otherwise मेरी सबसे कोशिश रहती है कि आपको बोलना है, आपको बात करनी है, आप हिंदी में बात करिए, मुझसे कोई प्रॉब्लम, आप इंग्लिश में कोशिश करिए, इंग्लिश में जितना हो सके उतना, जितना हो सके उतना, बिकॉज अल्टीमेटली हमें उस पहलू पे बहुत ध्यान देने की जरूरत है, और ये रीजन है, हम ये बहुत नेसेसिटी चीज होती है। Learning English, I know it's a gradual process, it's not going to be happen overnight, it's a very gradual process, but fortunately you are having lots of the time, बहुत वक्त है आपके पास में, not just 1 month, 2 month, 3 months, somewhere around like 7 to 8 months you are with us, and you are having like ample of amount of like period with you, time with you. You can, if you seriously think of this, you can definitely make those improvements. Start talking. Communication is all about talking, talking, talking. कुछ पढ़ने से कुछ नहीं होता, I'll tell you. अगर if you wanted to speak, you have to speak. If you wanted to learn to speak, you have to speak. This is the way only. So this is the reason ये small housekeeping rules हैं यहाँ, थोड़े थोड़े रूल्स हैं। वीडियो पे ध्यान दो अपना, जैसे आज देखो कुछ बातें, मतलब वीडियोस पे हर बार बोलता हूँ भाई, बिकॉज ये चीजें आगे चल के अडॉप्ट करनी है। दिस इज वेयर दिस वी आर गोइंग टू बिकम अ पार्ट ऑफ दिस सोसाइटी, जहाँ पे सारा वर्चुअल वर्ल्ड है यार, पूरा वर्चुअल वर्ल्ड है। You are having your engagements with the clients from abroad, clients from US, Canada, Russian. Everyone is going to speak in English in their own pronunciation. It becomes very hard to understand, I'll tell you, especially with the Russians. बहुत दिक्कत होती है, but you have to adopt those. वही तो रहने वाले, that is going to become the part of our life. ठीक है, तो हम मीटिंग्स ज्वाइन कर रहे हैं तो वी हैव टू फोकस ऑन लाइक हमारा वीडियो ऑन है या नहीं, थोड़ा सा रुकना पड़ता है, इमीडिएटली भग 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 करके बटन्स नहीं दबाने, स्टेप बाय स्टेप देखो, जरा सा ऑब्जर्व करो कि आपका माइक ऑफ है कि नहीं। ये मेरे लिए नहीं है दोस्त, मुझे क्या क्या फर्क पड़ता है यार, थोड़ा सा डिस्टर्ब होता हूं मैं, लेकिन ये आपके लिए। दिस ऑन व्हाट हम स्कूल में क्यों सिखाते हैं बच्चों को कि यू शुड वॉश योर हैंड्स एवरी डे, यू शुड कट योर नेल्स, यू शुड कोम योर हेयर, यू शुड एटलीस्ट टेक अ बाथ। ये सब क्यों सिखाते हैं हम लोग? बिकॉज वी वांटेड टू डेवलप हिज पर्सनालिटी। एग्जैक्टली, दिस इज व्हाई। और स्कूल ही वो होता है जहां पे आपका पर्सनालिटी डेवलप होता है, कॉलेज नहीं होता है। These basic rules, these disciplines of life, they are taught in school. Why? Because they wanted you to become a good person. They wanted you to adopt the good habits. तो ये जो हम भी कोशिशें कर रहे हैं ना, this whole 9 and 8 month, but when you are with us, we are just trying to convert your personality, and we wanted you to become like an IT person. That is the reason we have imposed certain rules, and sometimes we are very strict to that. Right? All right. चलिए वापस चलते, वरना ये डिस्कशन बहुत लंबा हो जाएगा। So customization मतलब होता है making the changes. I wanted to customize this tab bar. I wanted to customize this tab bar. This tab bar right now is having all these tabs. Now, customization means either I wanted to add some tab inside this, or maybe I wanted to remove some tab. Or second thing or third thing could be like, I wanted to change the positions. Right now it's look like campaign, hai, lead, hai, account, contact. I wanted to shuffle their positions. Some tab I want to bring it forth, and some I wanted to brought them into, afterward. That's what. This is what a customization of tab bar actually means. So how exactly I'll be going to do that? How exactly I'll be going to do with that? Let's say our client has raised a request that see, whenever he load this application, sales, or maybe some other applications like marketing, or maybe some other applications like, for example, service, right? All right. So what he has reported to us is like, whenever he accesses this application, he see all these tabs. What he's saying to me, I never use forecast, I don't use contracts and orders, right? I use cases, I also use solution products, reports I use, dashboards I usually don't use. All right, I don't use like I don't use campaigns as well, and these are unnecessary present every time onto my application. Can we do a little refinement over here? Can you customize this tab bar in a way that it should have home, charter, it should not have lead, this campaign, leads, it should have accounts, contacts, opportunity. These three should also be get removed, and it should have cases, solution, products, and reports, and it should not have the dashboard. Seems to be a very small thing. Understand? But see, understand, if you don't know this, how come the impression would come? इतनी सी भी बात नहीं आती इसको, इतना सा भी नहीं आता. So this seems to be a very simple thing, but it could create a deep impact. Right? All right. So how to do that? So whenever you are customizing the tab bar, see, there's a small plus icon at the end of tab bar. It's always there. It's always there. This is present in every case, right? You go with any cloud, you go with service. This is over here. You go with marketing. Again, this is over here. You go with any other, you go with community, that time it is also, right? So what I was trying to say is like, this button is always there. Just make a click onto that button. Just make a click. And then you have a button over here. You have a button called customize my tab. Customize my tab. Just make a click onto this as well. So what we want to see, all of the tabs that are being listed, that are being present right now on the tab bar, they are present in a selected tab. They are present in the selected tab. There are actually two grids over here. The one grid is available tab. The second grid is selected tab. They are all present over here. So let's say what he told to us is like, he wanted to remove campaigns. Make a click. There are two buttons, add and remove. Just make a click on to remove. He don't wanted to have like forecast, contracts, and orders. So I'll go with forecast. And now see, instead of removing one by one, I'll just press Control button from my keyboard, and I'll just, making the different selections. You don't want it to either have dashboard. So by selecting this control and clicking, you have multiple selection options, and all of them which I don't want, I just have selected all of them and I've removed. Well, that was about removing. Now let's talk about if I wanted to add something. Okay, for example, I wanted to add something called as document, right? Document. Let me go to this tab document, and when you select it, just add it. All right. You want a document to come a little bit up. So there's an up and down button over here, up and down. You can bring it up like this. You can, you can bring it up like this, and then you can, do it like this as well. Wherever you can define the place as well. You can define the place. Now, once you have done with whatever you wanted, just press the save button. Just press the save button, right? And now you can see the tab bar has been customized. You have removed those tabs which you don't want, and you have added what you wanted over here, right? This is what a customization of tab bar. Go with this only by today. Go with this only. But tomorrow I'll be taking some few more customizations related to sidebar, related to recent record section, enhanced list view. We will be gradually. You have to keep patience, because I already have told you this is a very big technology. It would going to take time. But see, we are having certain restrictions. We don't usually take so many topics in a day. We absolutely is not in hurry to complete your batch, start a new batch that will give us more business. Right? Our people, those, if you have interacted with me or with Sachin or with Kansa or with anybody in the team, enough day one itself, we have make you clear this is not a business. This is not a business. We are here to help our community. We wanted to uplift your career. We wanted you to take the advantage of this technology, which is booming, which is in the booming, and everyone could get in. The only thing you wanted is the only thing what you required is you have to keep the patience, you have to keep the faith, and you have to learn. So see, this is the way we are going to cover this. It would going to require, it would require certain times. All right. So I hope every one of you is having your instance, you're having you're having your developer account. So try to replicate whatever we have studied so far, right? Try to replicate this by today itself. By tomorrow, you will be going to learn the new things, right? This is going to be learned by tomorrow. So try to replicate this customization of tab bar into your instance, right? That's all for today. Let me give you this command. Let me open. Now you can unmute yourself if you wanted to ask me anything. Yes.
हेलो.
Yes, Ruchira.
सर आप जब भी बता रहे थे ना, एक ऑब्जेक्ट का एक टैब होता है, वो एक बार फिर से रिपीट कीजिए ना.
ये बहुत सिंपल कंसेप्ट है ये.
हाँ.
देखिए, अगर कैंपेन नाम का एक ऑब्जेक्ट है, तो जो उसका टैब रहेगा उसका नाम कैंपेन्स रहेगा. ये एक अलग रूल है. ये सिंगुलर और प्लूरल की बात है. बट इन अ सिंपल वे, कैंपेन को रिप्रेजेंट करने के लिए एक ही टैब है. मतलब इस ऑब्जेक्ट को अगर एक्सेस करना है तो उसका एक ही टैब, दो टैब नहीं है, दो टैब नहीं. ये इस तरह से है कि मान के चलिए कि एवरी वन ऑफ यू, हम लोग सभी को, हम सभी के कुछ ना कुछ यूनिक आइडेंटिटी नंबर्स होते हैं. जैसे कि मान के चलिए हमारा पैन कार्ड नंबर, या फिर मे बी हमारा आधार कार्ड नंबर, है ना. या फिर अगर मैं इस ऑर्गेनाइजेशन में हूँ तो मेरा जो एम्प्लॉय आईडी है, तो ये यूनिक होता है, ये एक ही होता है. मतलब एक ही व्यक्ति के दो एम्प्लॉय आईडी नहीं हो सकते हैं एक ही ऑर्गेनाइजेशन में. अगर वो मून लाइटनिंग कर रहा है तो वो अलग बात है. लेकिन एक इंसान है, अगर वो एक ऑर्गेनाइजेशन में काम करता है, फिर उसका एक ही होता है. या फिर एक ही आईडी दो लोगों को नहीं दिया जाता, ये भी वाइस वर्सा भी यही पॉसिबिलिटी. So this is what every object have one tab. Every tab represents an object. आप दोनों तरह से बात कर सकते हो कि every object have one tab and every tab represents one object. ठीक है, तो it's a very simple thing. ज़्यादा भारी नहीं है.
Yes. Got it.
Right. Any other questions?
Hello.
Yes.
Good morning, sir.
Bhagyashree and Shakshi, please one by one.
Hello.
Ladies, please one by one. Yes.
Yes, sir. Yesterday सर मैंने कल सेल्फ अकाउंट बनाया था सर, वो ओपन नहीं हो रहा सर मेरा.
Right. आप मुझे समझा सकती हैं?
सर लॉगिन भी नहीं हो रहा.
नहीं, आप मुझे समझा सकते हैं कि आपने क्या क्या स्टेप्स फॉलो किए थे? ऑलराइट, आई विल डू वन थिंग। एक मिनट जरा सा। मैं साक्षी को अभी कमांड दूंगा और लेट्स सी कि हम लोग इसको कैसे सॉल्व कर सकते हैं। जस्ट गिव मी अ मोमेंट।